today. I was wrong. So
And
let's
Mary
get
Bruce, Mary, as
started
we saw
ASAP.
the NTSB not ready to make conclusions about how this happened. Yesterday, President Trump did.
I'm also going to show you the cool jacket that I bought in the process.
So nowadays, some people are still staying in the old village because there are sheep, there are goat here, and also now because of tourism, some of them also work with tourists. You can earn some extra money by, making food, noodles. Good morning everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am now in Zepu in southern Xinjiang, and I think it's my third time in Xinjiang, and this time I'm going for a desert tour. So this desert is called Taklamagan Desert, which is a big desert in the middle of Xinjiang. It's roughly the size of Germany, and it's also the world's second largest shifting sand desert. So by saying that, I mean there are different types of deserts. There is this rocky Gobi Desert, but a shifting sand desert means that the desert is very sandy, and also the sand dunes is shifting all the time. And today I want to visit perhaps China's most isolated village. It's called Daliaoyi, right in the middle of this big desert. And this time I'm going to stay about 5 or 6 days, so every day I will cover a very long distance. So I got a car and a driver, and I am just waiting for him to pick me up. Our today's car, a Beijing Jeep. My driver, Mr. Dong, when I found him on Xiaohongshu, wasn't very interested in taking my booking. He found my travel plan is too off the beaten track, with long distance to cover each day. It wasn't until I asked him, "Can your car handle tough terrain?" that his interest was piqued. He became curious, just wondering what kind of place I'm going to and how bad the roads could be. It takes 2 days to travel from Zepu to Daliaoyi, passing through Moyu, Hetian, and Yutian before heading north into the desert. The entire Hotan region is historically famous for its jade, with Hotan jade being the most prized stone in China. In the afternoon, we passed through Moyu, or Karakash County, named after the Karakash River, meaning black jade. There was a jade market today, so we stopped to take a look. Every Friday there is a jade market in Moyu. So Moyu County means the ink jade. And actually the stones here look a little bit like ink. They are checking it with a small torch to see what's inside. Ah, look. 对，多少钱卖？7万多告诉你。10万块。
1公斤多少钱？好好说一下。10万块钱说话的吗？哎，这个样子啊，漂亮啊，大气。哎，这是哪里的石头？你好好说一下。1元不是1元。
1万多。
我看见。
对，这个能看见这块有亮。
是的。
但是咱其实也不太懂。
是不太懂。说
这很难说，这我不太懂。
是的。但它这个是，谁知道它是？这是什么玉？这是什么石头？啊？这是什么石头？玉。玉，哪里的？莫玉县。莫玉县。莫玉河的。莫玉河的吗？好好说，真正的莫玉河的吗？正的莫玉河的这个。不是阿富汗的吗？这个20万万来起。按咱说话的吗？这地方没有的，阿富汗嘛啥地方多？没有阿富汗什么的地方没有的是吧？没有。可以这个。家本来家东是不是我的？家东西没有是吧？ 这块多少钱？你能说一下？多少钱？
1000多，是说它里边有可以是一整块吗？还是说后面
就这一
加工？
整块，这一整块都是墨鱼吧？
啊，
我不知道呀，我不懂呀。
When it comes to how valuable the stones are, there is no fixed standard. However, the usual tactic is to start with a high price, leaving plenty of room for negotiation. The market attracts many jade enthusiasts, but the goods are somewhat mixed in quality. In the past, locals loved collecting stones by the river, but now it is banned due to ecological concerns. Most of the stones today are purchased in bulk from the quarry. After browsing around, Mr. Dong decided to buy a small piece of jade.
我踏实来的。行，包，这我知道真正墨鱼的，现在你说一下嘛，好好说一下嘛，多少钱？30块钱。
So don't start to bargain.
头疼的很，我也头疼的很。你说一下，说一下，咱俩好好说，悄悄说一下。咱们是40块钱。呀。你那样，
He was asking for 400, and I don't think it's too much. So now a battle and negotiation is going on.
300买不了，300买不了，300买不了。
I've been muted this whole goddamn time and I didn't realize it. I didn't realize I've been muted this whole time. That's really funny. I've been muted at least since I went to get water. And so basically, what do you call it? I like how the jade was translucent, as what I was saying before, and now we're in the true territory of Chinese negotiation tactics, which my mom is very good at. Well, she's okay at. She doesn't always get. I'm American. I can't. I'm nowhere near as good. I am but a terrible fucking. I'm just I'm very just accept the price kind of person.
一句话说嘛，就买这了。一句话说，你好好，咱俩说，好好，一句话说。一给那手里头啊。
啊，对，能看见。
这个是。
对。
这个是。那经比较大的这个。
They're polished it a little bit.
Watching the Xinjiang uncle's haggle was entertaining. Their body language was vivid and expressive, touching head, clapping, frowning, out to convey their pain, yet their sincere smile and firm handshakes turned the hard bargaining and power struggle into an enjoyable social interaction. Both sides had fun. A deal was struck, and they became true adashi.
最多说话呢，最多。你说话。我现在说话吗？可以吗？可以，不可以吗？80块钱可不可以？80。
啊，大西80可不可以？
对，80可不可以？80可以吗？我兜装着钱给你，走掉了。好好说呀，答案。现在行吗？行吗？不行吗？不行吗？对吧？行不行嘛？那当时咱们上啊，那上面上广告没得多。卖的，剩的，卖这个。 卖了。
一会做不掉这个。
还开了个张。
可能是他今天卖的第一块玉。
I'm not much of a jade. I mean, I'm American. I don't really know much about how all that works.
啊，大西16怎么卖啊？多少钱
？5块1公斤吗？这个很好的，现在10块1公斤。
I can't have that stuff anymore. I used to love pomegranate, but with the medication I'm on, I'm not allowed to have pomegranate anymore. I'm also not allowed to have grapefruit, but I hate grapefruit, so at least there's that.
2块是吧？还一块给一下，他给你换一下，好的。
谢谢。
That's super. Oh, I miss that. Being a kid in Chinatown and like getting really fresh fruit. I mean, not really fresh. Let's face it. It's Chinatown, New York City. You had to travel to get to where I would. But like just like having a nice little piece of fruit in the summer and like sitting outside in the park, like getting a piece of fruit from the market and then going to the park. That didn't happen very often, to be honest with you. Usually my parents got me the fruit because you asked me, I would get a bag of chips. I'm a junk food boy.
你好，麻烦拿一个大的烤包子，多少钱呀？
就这个嘛
5块钱的。5块钱。现在没有现在。好，那就要一个大的。
So you're about to get hit by an ad. If you don't want to see ads, you can subscribe starting at $6 a month, or if you have Amazon Prime, you get Twitch Prime. That gives you one free sub every month. You can use that here. You can use it wherever you want. I will be streaming more. I'm going to try to stream twice a week. Yeah. Or, you can Twitch Turbo, VPN, I don't know. Whatever tactics you got, but I'm going to run it.
Rahma 2万还是？我要一个3块的，可以吗？可以。你也是跟2份跟凉皮一起拌在一起。它是2个一起搅着吗？好的。那个凉皮和凉粉一起搅吗？对对对。对，是的。我觉得这5块3块的凉皮我感觉差不多大哈。是。
这是牛肉。
这个馕咬掰不动了。
烤包子。
哦，这是烤包子。
大的烤包子。
这包子。It's a 包子, not a bao bun. That's like, I don't know. Saying bao bun is like saying like toast or like, like you're just saying the same word twice.
旁边把它抠一下。
这样的吗？螃蟹。哇！掀个盖。
谢谢。谢谢。
这样的。
The Taklamakan Desert, though extremely arid, lies north of the Tibetan Plateau. Meltwater from the Kulin Mountains forms narrow rivers that flow northward into the desert, irrigating towns and villages.
Oh.
The farms here is filled with walnut trees, cotton, and jujube.
Xinjiang produces the famous changrongmian, so the fabric is pretty long. And look, a big machine is harvesting all the cottons. It's so soft.
Xinjiang's jujube are sold in nearly every supermarket across China. These dates are naturally dried on the tree, and their flavor resembles dried apples with a honeyed, caramel-like sweetness. Cities in southern Xinjiang share similar features. They are earthy yellow, and you can find vendors selling melons, nut cake, and naan bread.
And the shop names in
saying bao buns is like saying naan bread. It's the same thing. Or like anime cartoons.
Xinjiang are pretty interesting. For example, this is called a 舒坦鞋子店 comfortable shoe shop. 鲜丽鞋子店 bright shoe shop. 步履鞋子店 step shoe shop. 老板，这个怎么卖啊？哦，长一点点。一共就40个这样。
一共就40块钱。
So it's a creamy candy with walnut. 老板能帮我称10块钱的吗
I wouldn't want to try that.
可以吧？
可以。
可以的。
不一样。
不一样啊？很乖乖。
好甜。
长一点。
好甜啊！
真的不一样。
好甜。
我要一样来一点可以吗？一共10块钱的，谢谢啊。
Naan bread, though popular all over Xinjiang, has its unique form in each region. Moyu's specialty is corn naan, made with
Corn naan.
corn, onion, and walnut.
有核桃人呀，
有核桃人，有核桃，
核桃人。
这算是墨鱼的特产吗？墨鱼
墨
鱼的馕是吧？叫核桃玉米馕。
核桃玉米馕。
帮我拿一个吧。
好。
多少钱
5块。
好的。
你们哪来的？
安徽，我是安徽的。
安徽。
你多大了吗？你19有没有？27。23。那我比你老多了。
有没有孩子？
还没有孩子呢。
还没结婚吗？
结婚了，他没有小孩。
我31岁了，有4个孩子。
有4个啦，那很开心。我也想要小孩，但是4个有点多，可能要2个。
2个就够啊。
对，2个就够了。
I wonder. She just said, okay, so anyone who didn't understand her response, she says she's married, she doesn't have kids. I wonder how her partner feels. Her I presume husband. I'm not sure. I don't want to assume. I wonder how they feel about her constantly traveling, unless he travels also, or they travel also for work. And this is what she does when because they're apart.
"行，谢谢你们啊。谢谢。好的，好的。
这是那种
这会
是会飞的那个吗？
就是那个会飞的吗？
会飞的那个吗？And
the parrot。
那它这养的这些。
Oh, they keep parrots.
很好玩。
哎，你看。
Rahmat，谢谢。
你看，
Give me some
你
grapes。
看这个鸟，你刚把手往那一放，它就自己上来了。
对呀。
摸摸吃，
I don't know if I'd ever want a bird.
你好。
Seems like a lot of work.
哎呦。
I've heard it's a lot of work.
你好。
你好。你好。
知道它换多少次？
它会飞是吧？
对，会飞，很可爱。哇。
Like squirrels?
你好。
你好。
哇。
你好。那你呢？要什么？
你要吃吗？
哎呀！
那个。
你要往哪儿钻？
خمسة قبضنا
I guess it's winter still. I mean, she couldn't have recorded this that long ago, so yeah, this is still winter. I was wondering about the sweaters, because like, you're going in the desert and you're wearing sweaters, but yeah, it's probably winter time.
We had some fun with the animals.
It was already late, so we stayed overnight in Tule County and continued east to Yutian the next day. Before entering the desert, we stopped at a gas station to refill, as a 400-kilometer round trip through the desert had no gas stations.
那边好像是不是还有加油站呢？
没了，所以咱
你有多少油啊？
他以前也是80升的油箱，也有个油桶，就看他那个搞油桶的，我才搞了一个。
哦，行。So in a gas station, we met another car that want to go to Daliabi. So now we form a team together.
Oh, okay. This is October, so it's still autumn.
The village Daliabi locates 200 kilometers deep in the Taklamakan Desert. Sounds unbelievable, right? How can there be a village in the middle of a desert? The answer is Korea River, and at its peak, the river used to flow through the desert and join the Taring River, giving rise to cities along its banks. However, as the river changed course, these cities disappeared, and the Korea River eventually dried up in the middle of the desert. The area the river passed through became lush grasslands, and over 300 years ago, some Uyghur settlers followed the river deep into the desert, forming the village that exists today.
Starting from this new village, we can't use Google Map for navigation, so I download a map from 奥维地图, so it's an app, and I marked all the paths, and hopefully we can find a way. But also starting from here, there won't be any phone signals, but I hope the GPS still work, and normally it should be working. 对对对，往这边。
That's isolated.
The road is very bumpy. There's lots of ups and downs. I was not even dare to use my big camera because I'm afraid it might get broken. SUV 能开吗？这？
你觉得呢？
我不知道呀，开不了。
不行，很确定告诉你不行，那必须。底盘其实按这种情况来，底盘其实好像倒是无所谓，但是你一定要是四驱。
驾驶感受如何？目前为止。
挺好，挺喜欢这个地方。
Some of the roads are not even that visible. It's just in between the sand dunes. It's not even that recognizable.
The road to Daliabi is a desert trail. The route constantly changes with the seasons and the shifting riverbed. But the road was easier to travel than I expected. And along the way, there are occasional herders' homes.
放气吧，对，那就放点气吧。
So now, as the road is getting sandier and sandier, we decided to find a place to deflate the tire because now it's getting really hard for the car.
不，
啊？
这是有时间的。
哦，就数多少秒？
对，差不多。
哦。
Normally this is where I ASMR the B-roll, but like this is such a different experience from normal little Chinese everywhere. I just don't know, like it's just interesting, like all this exists in one country. It's a massive country.
We are about, I think, 10 kilometers away from the village, and the sunset is just stunning. The water is flowing, but it's so slow, and it's like a mirror reflecting all the sunset. It's just beautiful.
Life. I'll be right back. I'm gonna leave the video running though.
离村子还有多远？你现在房子去吗？村子还有几公里有？10公里，10公里，1公里有。啊，好，谢谢，
谢谢啊。
哪里呀？
也不一定就So finally, after a whole day's drive, we're here. This is such an isolated village because there is no mobile phone signals now. 你好，请问这边可以吃饭吗？
可以。
可以。我刚问过。
哦，你们现在还住这边吗？还是周末过来的呀？
就是在这边住。
就在这边住，你们就在老村住吗？
对。
不去新村吗？
不去，我在这边做生意嘛。
哦，
做生意。
那是不是天冷没人了就回去了？
有的是回去，有的是在这边放养。
哦。
要不进去？
行，好的。
八周硬汉。
咱们这个村子现在还有多少人呀？
也是100多吧。
100多个人。哦，还住这边。
ما parça qo'shwa kaputqa. Ashuna qilaman.
Bilabs at.
For dinner, we had
That baby's
noodles.
politics are messed
The family
up.
also provides accommodations, yet the condition is modest. There are also some other travelers camping on the sand dunes, so we camped with them. Today, all villagers were reallocated to the new houses, but they still keep their herds here. They return to tend their pastures and earn money from the tourists. Due to the remoteness, the infrastructure remains minimum. Villagers travel in and out using pickup trucks and motorbikes. The buildings are simple. Electricity is generated by solar panel. The mobile signals are weak, allowing only phone calls but no internet access.
Ooh, no internet. I'm scaring it.
That's an old house. Every house has a motorbike like that. I don't know if there are still people who are living in it. The wall is made of, I think it's dried reef and some wood, and that's a door. It's a big piece of wood bark. 亚库普大叔民屋. So yeah, that's the old dwellings and renovated to some extent.
Oh, they have an air
Oh,
conditioner.
there is even air conditioner. That's cool.
这个是那个是农户的家。
农户的家。
这边是让游客住的。
餐厅这个就是那个酒店那种的。
啊。
那个客房那些都有的。
对的。
这个无声机。
While walking around the village, a local official showed us a newly built hotel. As Daliabi is attracting more off-road enthusiasts, adventurers, the local government plans to develop tourism to increase the local income. All the residents from Daliabi live on animal husbandry, so each family has 200, 300, or I think maximum 400 sheep or goats. And their grassland scattered along this Korea River in an oasis, so their grassland can be very far away from each other. So in winter, they bring their cattle back to the village, and the cattle will stay together to protect themselves against the cold wind, because in winter the temperature can drop to minus 10, minus 15 degrees.
Chilly.
This used to be a school, but now since the whole village is reallocated to a new location, which is closer to the city, so is the school. And now it's a paradise for the sheep.
Someone was trying to ball.
大哥，你们家有多少只羊呀？
I mentioned ball, and it's funny because like China is like one of the biggest international markets for the NBA. And I mean, I'm Chinese, but like I was a NBA fan before that game really made it to China. I mean, like I've been a fan, since like 94, 95, which incidentally isn't, most people, if they're fans from the 90s, they say, oh yeah, Michael Jordan, blah, blah, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. No. I'm not a fan because of them. I'm a fan because of Nigerian basketball player Hakeem Olajuwon, who played for the Houston Rockets. He doesn't play anymore. He's like in his 60s, I think. But yeah, I actually found my elementary school yearbook, and my quote for 6th grade, graduating into middle school, was Hakeem Olajuwon. The end of it was Hakeem Olajuwon rules.
100只。
I was such a hoop head. I mean, I am still now. I'm just not as blatantly obvious about it.
30.
31公里。
摩托车过去。
库尔班这哈。
库尔班。
31公里。
平时住这边吗？还是住新村？
新村上班。
哦，新村上班。
对。
只是周末过来。
对。
看看爸妈是吧？
对。
那你爸爸妈妈在这里住吗？
对。
他们新村不去吗？
有些时间去。
等于说也是有羊在这边，对吧？要看着。对。
你们家多少只羊
？150。
150。啊，昨天我们问那个
有350。
他们家有350。
对，350那应该是最多的了。
And later for lunch, we went back to the family we visited. They made us kumachi, a typical local food, a naan bread with mutton and onion filling cooked
sounds really
in
good.
sand.
So nowadays, some people are still staying in the old village because there are sheep, there are goat here, and also now because of tourism, some of them also work with tourists. You can earn some extra money by, making food, noodles. Those are the flags from tourists from all over China. 四川自贡。
很冰是吧？
这水是咸的，那你们喝吗？也喝这个水？不喝。
对。
哦。
那边也有一个不是这个咸水。
不咸的。
啊。哎，你们平时也会做库麦奇吃吗？
做呀。
做呀。以前经常做吧。
就是早上不做饭的时候做这个。
库麦奇。
对。
哇。
电的话就那个什么嘛。
太阳能。
这个东西是干什么的？
菜椒。
菜椒。
菜椒。对。That's a colorful vegetables.
Yeah, where would they have a refrigerator? Come on. This is a very, very remote desert community where they put a refrigerator. I'm glad to get solar though. That looks pretty good.
To be honest, kumaichi isn't the best food in Xinjiang. There's too much mutton fat and it's quite greasy. This dish is probably meant to be a quick meal for the shepherds, unlike noodles or other Xinjiang dishes that require time to prepare. After lunch, we shared a watermelon from our car with them, and we give a lift to one guy from the family. He wanted to go to his home in a new village, which is over 100 kilometers from the old one.
Oh wow.
All villagers were reallocated there in well-furnished houses. A highway linked the village to Yutian city, so life is much more convenient.
Imagine that. They created a new town for all the people that live there, and they provided housing. What a crazy thought. And then just make them homeless bums. What a crazy idea.
Back in a new village, we found some other people who have the tool to pump up the tire so that we can drive properly on normal roads. So now we are just pumping the tire. This is also the end of my today's video. I hope you enjoy my desert trip as much as I do, and thanks for watching, and bye bye.
一个人吗？
啊，
哇，
哦，真的是，
都是寂寞的很。
那你就平时啥时候出去一趟？
这来8个月3月份来一下，这到10月底，
然后就是这8个月了，
一直在这哦。
That was a real look behind the camera. I don't think we ever get to see her piloting the drones.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Now it's 11 a.m. Beijing time and 9 a.m. Xinjiang time. And yesterday, I just finished my tour to Daliabi, this amazing desert village. And I think that 100 kilometers off-road desert ride is some of the coolest experience I've ever had. Today my trip is again about desert, today and tomorrow, and I'll be taking China's first highway through the desert.
I'm gonna be quiet for a bit because I think I mentioned earlier in the stream my health insurance issues. So the other thing about health insurance, basically my old health insurance was dirt cheap and it made me pay for everything. So aside from a $75 specialist copay, which I need a lot because I have a lot of specialists looking after me, there's also the fact that they didn't really cover my most important medications, my immunosuppressants, which I need to live. The two of the three were combined were like $440, and I can't afford to pay that every month. So I switched to a new insurance. I actually I was stupid enough to go for the cheapest insurance, and then I rethought it, and then about a week later, while still in the window, I switched to another insurance. So that insurance starts tomorrow, but the problem is they never sent me an insurance card. But I also literally just sent them my premium today. So I gotta look into that because I have to send my new insurance card to all my doctors so that they can charge the insurance properly. So I'm gonna be a little quiet while I do that. So enjoy the video.
Desert is the world's second largest shifting sand desert. It's roughly the size of Germany, and it's very difficult to build a highway through a shifting sand desert because the road can easily get buried by the sand.
The Taklamakan is a vast shifting desert, stretches 1,000 kilometers from east to west, and nearly 450 kilometers from north to south. In the past, traveling north to south required a long detour, taking 2 days. Now, however, there are highways, and more than one. The first highway completed in 1995 runs over 500 kilometers from Luntai to Minfeng. The second came in 2007, connects Aro to Hotan. The third, from Aro to Qianmo County, intersects the first highway at Tazhong Oil Town. And the fourth highway, opened just a few years ago, runs from Qianmo to Yili. These highways crossing the desert have significantly shortened travel distances between cities around the desert. I want to travel part of the desert highway, firstly to Tazhong and then back south to Qianmo. As we stayed in Yutian the day before, we firstly continued going east. If the desert highway are modern engineering marvels, the ancient roads circling the desert were the wonder of their time, the Silk Road. Silk Road is an ancient network of trading routes connecting east and west, and also a route of cultural exchanges. It began during the Han Dynasty when there were 36 small kingdoms around the Taklamakan Desert, and during Western Han Dynasty, Buddhism was firstly introduced from India. Yutian, by then was known as the Kingdom of Yumi, was the early center for the spread of Buddhism.
So this morning I'm here to see a Buddhist temple. There are many Buddhist temples in southern Xinjiang. In Han Dynasty, there is a so-called 西域36国, so 36 kingdoms in the western region, and all those kingdoms were once a Buddhist kingdom. But in southern Xinjiang, the relics are relatively much smaller. Maybe they were destroyed by the sandstone. So this is Damago 佛教遗址公园, which is pretty small, and I haven't seen any tourists so far.
你是哪儿来的？
安徽。
这个地址写写吧。
行。2024。
10月西周日。
10月。So that is Tata, a very typical Buddhist statue made of clay, which is very, very typical in Tibet. Wow. I can't believe those are from the 6th century.
这个小佛是全中国、全世界最小的古代佛寺遗址。这个唯一民间是个家庭供奉佛寺。
哦，这是家庭供奉的。
私家佛堂。
哦，私家佛堂。
这个古代和田，这个佛就这个形成这个区，古代的时候，这个家家户户都有小佛寺，每家都有小佛寺。
哦。
那个唐玄奘在大唐这个《西游记》用8个字描述了。
Hold on. Yeah. Okay, I remember this now. So I had a feeling when she was describing the area. This is where the journey to this is the west. This is the destination and journey to the west to get the Buddhist scriptures. So this is where Tong Sanzong went with Mhong and Bakai and Jing and all them. This is the end goal. This place was the end goal. This is where he received the sutras because, like Yan said, this was where Buddhism spread from in the early days of Buddhism in China.
佛寺，每家都有小佛寺。那个唐玄奘在大唐这个《西游记》用8个字描述了这个当时的古和田，佛塔林立，僧人云集。还有那个魏晋时期的僧人朱士生在洛阳这个迦兰记记载了公元的400年，在和田地区的小佛寺不计其数。这个佛教的这个我们这个和田这个佛教的这个记录年代大约公元前1世纪。
公元前1世纪。公元前1世纪。
公元前1世纪开始这个到10世纪末。
汉的。
1000多年都是一个。
都是佛教，佛教很兴盛。
都是佛教，那为什么后面就信伊斯兰了？
后面又
宗教演变把那喀拉哈王朝这个伊斯兰教就推广和田地区。
对。
喀拉哈王朝的伊斯兰教的这个把这个伊斯兰教推广和田地区发动了。
佛教就
都是个发动这个灭佛运动。
对，灭佛运动，对。
Doing healthcare stuff.
Later, I found that person introducing the site to us was actually the curator. He said that beneath the wide grass surrounding the temple were all Buddhist relics, but due to insufficient preservation technology, they had not been excavated. I wonder if melons were sold along the ancient Silk Road, but Xinjiang's melons are absolutely delicious. Although much of the land here is saline alkaline, it's surprisingly suitable for growing melons. On the roadside, there are plenty of melon fields. When we passed by Bandier village, we saw a big melon market.
Wow.
这行。好吃，很甜。
好吃。
这个就是安第尔甜瓜吗？
都是安的。
多少钱？
这个可以，这个多少钱
？15，行。
15吧。
可以微信吗？
微信。
你上瘾了？
我甘肃的嘛，兰州的嘛。
甘肃的，那有半个老师是。
这个地方春天，风特大，4个月份，风沙，
呼呼的是吧？
那直接像现在你看刮不起来头，
对，
像春天那时候，直接你
天
看不见
的是吧？
能见度就
能见度极低，
就是沙尘暴。
At another melon field, the farmer told us they are growing dagua, a type of watermelon for its seeds. They will crush the melons, take the seeds, and leave the flesh as fertilizer. When I asked if the melons were edible, he opened one for us to taste.
这个就是养胃的，
养胃的，真养胃吗？假养胃吗？
这真的。
味道怎么说？有点绵软的那种感觉。
放到冬天吃也挺好的。
这个
这个就养。
有点像西瓜皮的味道，软软的西瓜皮的味。
我不抽烟，我要抽烟我就早给你打烟了。
谢谢。
不抽烟就是好人。
完了吧？和田食堂，民丰县旗舰店。哦，对的是。
哦，
养老出餐点，咱俩一起够了，咱俩一起岁数。这边。
一起是够这个年龄。
对。
养老出餐点。
Before hitting the road, we went to the first ranking restaurant in Minfengxian. It's called Hetian Shitang. We got one 干煸豆角, so stir-fried string beans. And this one is 牛肉粉条, beef with glass noodle and some cabbage.
这么多，一份7个，一份10个，天哪！
叫什么？油塔子。
油塔子，它这看，你看它这是面是皮是这样的，它面皮可以这样一层一层撕开的，对，是这样的。油塔子。
哇！
微信收款70元。
走吧。和田食堂，可好吃了，谢谢你们。
好，那你走啊。新疆的菜分量都不少。哦。你们出去点菜，反正你们自己注意一点。
所以我们只点了2个呀。
对，我觉得点1个就够了。
Yeah, that's like American portion.
好，
谢谢啊。拜拜。
Okay, so update for if anyone cares. I have to wait 7 to 10 days now to receive a card, so I can't see a doctor or get my just yeah, I just had to like close a bunch of all the
shiny golden.
I can't even register yet, so I did a bunch of stuff off stream for nothing.
In the desert.
Oh,
the towering Kunlun Mountains of far mark the edge of the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, where the altitude rises to over 5,000 meters. That's also where the water comes from. Compared to ancient times, the Silk Road is now much easier to travel. Highways and railways cut through the desert, connecting cities in the oasis. It's not easy to build the roads in the desert. Most railways are built on bridges, and highways are protected by the grass screeds.
So this is the secret to building a highway in the desert. Look at this. There are many places where you can see this. Those are the dried reef. It's about 1.5 meter long, and that's what they use to create the grid, which is here, which is about 1 meter long and 1 meter wide. All the straws are planted deeply into the sand, and it's really hard to pull them out. And those grids stabilize all the sand along the highway. So it's a huge project. Just imagine there are over thousands of kilometers of highways through the desert, and every inch of them is protected by the grid like this. And at the edge of the grass grid, that's the.
And they did it without any artificial like no concrete barriers, no, complex chemical mixtures or anything. It's just wheatgrass.
The fence Sometimes it's 1 layer, sometimes it's 2 layers. That's the final protection. And once the sand is stabilized, sometimes the plant can also grow. That's a sand wave. I love this feeling of vastness. If you ever want to walk on the sand
You just got
for a long distance, then you need to take off all your shoes and socks.
I hope she gave her tribute to Shai Hulud.
In the presence of nature's vastness, I feel human's fleeting existence is like a grain of sand, slipping through our fingers, swept away by the wind, and eventually merges into the boundless desert's eternity. From Mingfeng, we headed north and drove onto Mingfeng Luntai Desert Highway, the longest highway in the world built over moving sand dunes, with the desert section stretches for 466 kilometers. After driving for 2 hours, we are deep into the heart of the desert. Yet, the shrubs continued to line up the roads. Every few kilometers, there is a small blue house with a red roof. I'd heard before that there are stations along its entire length. In each house, there is a person who is responsible for irrigating the shrubs. I can't imagine life here, and when we saw a guy standing next to the road, we stopped.
我是陕西的。
对，我们过来玩。
啊，老乡啊。
啊，这渭南的。
渭南的。
啊，渭南。
都是渭南的不？
哦，你也是渭南，渭南哪？
富平的。河水不？
我是华阳的。就你一个人吗？
啊。
哇。
哦，真的是。
这是寂寞的很。
寂寞的。
寂寞的。
来旅游的，我们聊聊天。
哦。
Actually, I think this would be great.
8月人多。
I would love to do this.
那你就平时啥时候出去一趟？
If only my Mandarin was good enough, I would do this job. I would volunteer to do this job. As long as the Chinese government gave me my medication and like as long as I got my medications delivered to me and like I had like enough enough to enough food and water to live on and like I got a nice stipend, I would totally do this fucking job. This job sounds like so much peace. The only drawback maybe is I wouldn't be able to get internet, and that's a huge thing. But if you let me bring my massive collection of comic books and all this, and I could continue to get stuff delivered to me, I would be fine.
月底就快了，就还10来天了。
哦，然后就回去了。
票已经都买好了，2号买的2号飞机票。
嗯，然后就是这8个月了。
一直在这哦。
那你每天干啥呢？
负责看泵，水泵。
嗯。
这边灌2公里，一个方法，这边灌2公里。
刚才那个人就是那样的。
那是不是还要沿着走着看看？
那你为啥不搞个电动车或者摩托车？
安全，大车特别速度快。
所以现在都只能走，只能走。
哦。
刚才路上看着有个女的，然后走的往那头走的，我说这人干啥嘞？
这检查 管到稻花。
它这种的是啥树呀？
这说是，这是使用盐碱水，它这地下水都是盐碱水，我们吃的水是他们给我
送的
拉过来的啊。
那你吃饭咋办？
自己做嘛，他给你发的锅灶嘛。
你要是走了，10月份走了咋办呀？
冬天就不用浇了
啊。
冬天灌到冬里，冬里也浇不成，在冬天天凉也不需要那些水，这负离子的温度高水分蒸发。
Wow, that's your station. 你老伴是在前面那个？
前面83，这是82。
哦，那吃饭他过来不？
吃饭不过来。
哦。
我自己给自己做，我早晨我晚上过去。
哦，晚上过去跟他一起。
哦，我把灯停了以后，晚上7点多。
哦。Oh, it's been the night.
早晨起来6点多，
哎呦。
给做完饭，早晨一吃。
对。
这还过中午我怎么知道得做的一吃。
这边的其他的水井房的人你都认识不
？Yeah, I would need internet.
这几个房能认识，这家分了3个队。
哦，3个队。
分了3个队，3个人承包。
哦，3个人承。
I could deal with it. I mean, like, I wouldn't be able to speak with any of them, so yeah, I would be completely isolated. I think I could deal with that as long as I had internet.
承包的。
我直接从108到76，这基本上都是他陕西，因为他陕西人在玩搞管理团。
哦，陕西的。
给职业队长搞管理的。
哦，搞管理的。
把他那边叫过来的。
哦。
那边呢都是四川的、河南的。
哦，四川、河南、陕西的。
哦。
那这边你们洗热水澡怎么办？热水澡。
那就是弄的脸盆身上擦个。
澡都洗不成。
澡洗。
那为啥不放个放热水器也不行呀？
那不行。
没有自己上费。
那盐水也洗了人不。这吃的水还不能胡糟蹋。
他多久
？20天送一次。
20天再送这么一桶。
That's it.
那能够吗？20天光吃了活了都不够吧？
那可以吃着活够。
吃喝够。但是洗澡就不够了。
你再洗澡都。
Okay, that's an issue. I don't.
So this is.
Listen, I could probably, like, when I'm lazy, I could probably go like 2 days without a shower. Like, that's assuming I haven't done anything, I haven't sweat, I haven't, like let's say I showered today. Tomorrow, I could go till Monday maybe. Like, if it's nice and cool out and I haven't put any effort and I've just been at home and I haven't done anything, maybe. Usually I'll feel gunky around Sunday. If I shower today, don't shower tomorrow, I'll feel gunky Sunday night and I'll shower Sunday night. Monday is pushing it. Tuesday's really pushing it. But that's not. I mean, I've gone longer before, but just from depression, especially during when I was home during COVID and a couple years after. Yeah, I was. But that's different. That's depression. Like, I'm talking like typical. I'm in a normal mood. That's wild. I don't think that's another challenge.
2 beds, a TV, air conditioning, a fridge. This is their living room, kitchen, everything together, and that's their water. It's delivered only every 20 days. There is no luxury to take a shower because water is the scarcity.
Although their living conditions are simple, their daily work isn't too demanding. All the workers here are couples, as it would be far too lonely for just one person.
Whatever.
Each house has a TV, but some CCTV channels couldn't be accessed.
You say that now, but I've lived alone for a long, long time. I can handle it.
We fiddled with it for a while, but couldn't fix it.
On this highway, there are altogether 108 stations like this, which take care of all the greeneries along the highway. Yeah, that's the size of it. Every house looks exactly the same. Every station looks exactly the same. That's the water pump. That's the pipe that irrigate all the trees. That's where all the electricity comes from, the solar panel.
Evening is their time to reunite, so we offered to drive him to his wife's little house, cause it's too late and it's 4 kilometers away.
它隔几公里啊
？4公里。
4公里。
基本上是4公里，好像都是100-200米。
哦，那你要去找你老伴，就走4公里过去吗？
哇。哦，得1个小时。
对，1个小时，那明天早上还走1个小时。哎呀，真的是，你跟尹老板说，要不以后，你跟尹老板说，要不以后1个月见一回吧。你这一走，一天去的吗？
这我老板这基本上天天去，有时啥
一天走8公里。哎呀，我这，你上班还得走2公里，
另外咱家
你一天得走10公里。
管家值班了不牵这啥，那个过来吧。
That's a lot of walking. You should get healthy.
His wife happened to be out exercising, so after dropping him off, we were about to leave. Yet he wanted to keep us for dinner.
So that's his wife's storm. It's the same, exactly the same.
不用下，
没事，咱们把你送到了就可以了。
送到就行，那我就准备走。
对，我们就走。
准备走。不用。
I need hospitality.
不说，我到他不，我吃烤猪血，我还要吃你的，我还要吃你挂面。不是，哎，你还好，你的精神面貌非常好，精神面貌非常好。
In my opinion, this desert highway is really a miracle, and the last protection for the highway and the final secret for the highway is that tiny blue house. In every little house there is a lonely but very lovely soul that protects the road.
By the time we arrived at Tazhong, it was already evening, but every accommodation was fully booked. Eventually, we found a container to stay in, and luckily we had camping gears and managed to get through the night.
Yesterday when we reached Tazhong, we actually didn't manage to find a place because everything is fully booked. So eventually we found this place, a camping place. We paid 50 yuan so that we can camping. There is also hot water, so it wasn't too bad.
Oh, it's like a hostel almost, like a emergency camping spot.
The toilet, and there is the bathroom.
Oh, that's not terrible.
So that mailbox is where we stayed yesterday. I didn't quite understand because Tazhong isn't so touristic. And then I talked with the hotel manager and she told me that this is the only stopover in the middle of the desert. It's also the crossing point of 2 desert highway. And now it's also the high season for Huyanglin visit. And that's why there are only about 200 beds in the whole town. But there are more tourists.
Pretty economical.
中国沙漠第一镇塔中镇。
Why is there a town in the middle of the desert? Because this place produces oil. Everyone passing by sees these 2 slogans: conquering the Sea of Death on one side and I'll dedicate my oil to the motherland on the other. Tazhong is tiny but has basic shops and pharmacies. People here come from all over the country.
And also, the variety of services this town offers goes far beyond my expectation. There is a pharmacy, and there are 2 foot baths. There is even a KTV, and also there are restaurants of different cuisines. 老板，这鸭架咋卖呀？4块钱一个。帮我拿几个呗？行。帮我拿，我想想，拿5个吧。20块钱。嗯。哎呀，来了。 来了，我要买点鸭脖。老板，你哪儿的人呀？哈尔滨。哇，这边是不是哪儿的人都有呀？对，哪儿都有。还有这个小镇，就是还有哪儿的人呢？哪个省？湖南的、四川的、甘肃的。嗯。哇。
No, my people. No southern Chinese. No southern Chinese.
5个，对。掰不掰？掰了吧。
He never goes to southern China. I wonder why. Like my okay. I could do Hanoi. My I mean the province that my family's from is worldwide famous. It's where pretty much all of the like early Chinese immigrants come from. It's very well known. I mean I believe most foreign Chinese speak Cantonese. I do. So I get that. It's kind of like a, and before it became Guangzhou, it was like in the Han Dynasty, actually during the Three Kingdoms period, it was connected to Vietnam. So like, I'm a little bit more related to the Vietnamese, I think, than like in some small way. Like even though it's been 1,800 years since that period. Speaking of periods, there's another ad break coming. It's time for an ad period. If you no longer want to see ads, you can subscribe, use your Twitch Prime, use money, use Twitch Turbo, do whatever you gotta do. I'm gonna start the ad early because I can.
来扫这个。好。你们是哪儿的？
安徽的。
安徽的。
对，过来看看。
安徽离这好像不算太远，是不是啊？
哦，还是有点远的。
还是有点远。
浙江那边。啊。对，浙江。这镇上有多少人呀？
还行，这两天人还上来了。
哦，那你要在一年在这儿待多长时间呢？几个月？
过年回去。
过年回去。
有时候还过年还不回去。
哦，那还挺忙的呀。
那不忙，那来回这路费太贵，净坐飞机呀。
啊，对。
回家再花点儿，这一年白搭了。
嗯，冬天这边应该很冷吧？
还行吧，不是那么太冷。那年轻人吧，扛得了。这像我这岁数，50、60岁的，50、60岁的，扛得。
那你到这边多长时间了？
好几年了。
哦。哎呀，谢谢。
好嘞，来几年盒。
On our way out, we came across a car stuck in the sand.
So we saw one car got stuck in the sand. We decided to stop and give them a hand.
看见有个狗狗没？狗狗我没逮，我这个后面不是啥，就是拖车的。
啊，你这这，哎
好，
你有答，你没懂啊？好了，OK 了，谢谢。
这是重庆的特产。
重庆特产，尝一下。
行，这是我上海的特产，1岁了。好的，谢谢你们，谢谢。
Oh, gifts.
太感谢了。
As a thank you for the.
We arrived in Qianmo County not too late and continued to Ruoqiang. The southern desert route is famous for its jujubes, and it's currently the harvest season. While passing through the jujube,
just reminded me. You know, not to shit on Hassan. I love Hassan. Hassan Piker is a terrific, communicator for the left, and I appreciate his takes. But and you know what? Maybe this is me showing a little bit of jealousy because I know how he'd be received compared to me, but his rendition of Red Sun in the Sky is not perfect. So you hear that part? Hold on. 人民当身放假做责任. That's what she's singing. 人民当身放假做责任. And he puts in an extra. He says 人民当身放假做责任. It's 做责任. He's just repeating it. For the wrong, he's repeating it. Is this lo-fi? She's extending the note, right? Like when you sing a word, you don't sing a word. You extend the note, you extend the sound. He's just it's good. I mean, this is the difference between someone who's spoken Chinese since he was like 2 or 3 years old and is 41 to someone who is Turkish who's 33 and has Chinese, people that married into his family. I just there are things I've known, like there's like even like I think even I found that I even like reading like anglicized Chinese, like I already know the Mandarin sounds a little bit better than the average white person. And of course, you know, if I tell my family or someone Chinese that, oh yeah, you absolutely should do that. You should, in fact, you should know Mandarin by now. You know, people in China may not be like that, but people here are like that. They're just so judgmental.
The orchids, Mr. Dong bought a big bag of it.
No one speaks Mandarin in Manhattan, Chinatown, and in the little Chinatown I grew up in, we're all Taishanese. We're all like, we all speak Taishanese there. You know, like what do you want? What do you want me to learn Mandarin? You don't surround me with Mandarin speakers. What do you want from me? What do you want?
Saying he wanted to take them back home for his family.
This is the most famous product in Ruoqiang Hongzao. Look, it's all dried on the trees, and then the local people are shaking it off the tree.
Oh, jujube. Oh, yeah. Make a lot of soups with this. A lot of broths and soups. My mom makes me drink it all the time.
They look dusty, but don't worry. They will be cleaned before sold to the market.
According to my original plan, my trip should have ended in Ruoqiang, and now I should go to the airport and go back home and edit my videos. But since I am already here, there is a big temptation, and that is the National Highway G315. It's a highway that very few people have been to, and it goes across China's some of the most stunning landscape, yet some of China's least inhabited region. And after a whole day struggle, finally I decided to continue traveling east and go across Qinghai province. So now I plan to discuss with my driver. I hope he can take my order. And if he take my order, tomorrow I am going to Mangyashi in Qinghai. And finally, I hope you enjoy my today's video. And thanks for watching, and bye-bye.
Okay, I'm gonna save that for next time. I'm gonna watch a little bit of
I recently made a video about
Not Just Bikes, the news Not Just Bikes, and then I'm gonna go into some Dynasty Warriors. I'm going to conquer China so my ancestors will be proud of me, even though they never will be.
Self-driving cars, and in it I compared my hometown in Canada to a similarly sized city here in the Netherlands. I wanted to take that segment out and talk about it here in its own video. Partially because it was 43 minutes through an almost hour-long video, so I'm not going to be upset if you missed it. But also because I think it deserves further discussion outside of the context of autonomous vehicles. Because while it may seem crazy to compare a car-centric city in Canada to this beautiful walkable city in the Netherlands, when you look at the history of these two places, you'll find they have a lot more in common than you think. I grew up in a car-dependent city called London, Ontario, Canada. And despite its Thames River, Oxford Street, and Covent Garden Market, it's nothing like real London. A kind of fake London, if you will. When I arrive in fake London by train, I'm on the side of a high-speed strode across from a surface parking lot. There isn't much left of downtown, and my only option to get anywhere is a taxi. The city is very spread out and designed almost exclusively for cars. Bus service is highly unreliable and slow, and there is no way I would feel safe enough to ride a bike here. And there are regular news stories about people being killed in car crashes, even when they're on the sidewalk. I have to drive pretty much everywhere to do pretty much anything, which I gotta say kinda sucks. I left fake London as soon as I was old enough, and I moved to various different cities and countries before ultimately moving our family to the Netherlands, where we plan to stay indefinitely. Which brings me to Utrecht. Utrecht is a city in the middle of the Netherlands, and I have to go there fairly regularly for one reason or another. The population is very similar to that of fake London, but otherwise these cities are very, very different. So you're probably thinking that it's almost comical to compare Utrecht to London, right? It seems ridiculous because these cities have almost nothing in common. And yet, 100 years ago, they were pretty similar. Sure, the architecture was different, but the fundamental design of the city was pretty comparable. Both were compact, walkable cities full of mixed-use neighborhoods and connected by streetcars, because both cities were founded long before automobiles were invented. Over the 20th century, both cities embraced the automobile, and both cities built wide roads and highways. Utrecht filled in a canal in their city center and turned it into a highway. And London bulldozed a neighborhood to build a wide road straight into downtown. Both cities even bulldozed part of their city center to build a suburban-style shopping mall, and these malls were both the first of their kind in their respective countries. Utrecht was about a decade behind London, but otherwise these cities were on exactly the same path. That is, until about the 1990s when Utrecht decided to change course due to growing concerns about the negative impact of car-centric development.
Yeah.
They made a fundamental decision to make the city friendly to people walking and cycling, to reduce car traffic, and to create greener public spaces. The highway around the city center was turned back into a canal. You'd never know that this used to be a highway. And today, that downtown shopping center is connected directly to a new train station via a pedestrianized area, and closely integrated with the rest of the city center on the other side. It's such an incredible difference to arrive in this place by train compared to fake London. Despite having almost the same population as my hometown, it hosts the busiest train station in the Netherlands, transporting over 200,000 people per day, with over 1,000 daily departures to national and international destinations. Incidentally, the fake London train station has just
Man, now I want to play City Skylines.
10 departures per day. There are hundreds of destinations within walking distance of the station, and there are great connections to other forms of public transit, including this new tram system. London had plans to build a new tram line a few years ago, but it was cancelled, in part because people believed that this city of 400,000 people was too small for a tram line, even though it had one 100 years ago. Underneath the train station in Utrecht is the world's largest bicycle parking garage with spaces for over 12,000 bicycles. And I can pick up one of the hundreds of rental bicycles using my transit card and cycle to any destination. I can cycle anywhere I want, quickly and easily, and because of the high-quality infrastructure, I never feel unsafe. It also helps that car volumes are low, and so are the speed limits. Near the train station is this street, accessible only to walking, cycling, and public transit. This is one of the busiest cycling paths in the world, and I probably see more people cycling in 5 minutes here than I have in my entire life in fake London. Walking around the city is also convenient and comfortable. The streets are lined with interesting shops and restaurants, and there isn't a surface parking lot in sight anymore. There are many nice residential neighborhoods, and it's remarkably quiet too, because as I've realized over the years, cities aren't loud, cars are loud. There isn't a lot of traffic because there are viable alternatives to driving. People aren't forced to drive here, so the only people in cars are those who need to drive or those who really want to drive. Utrecht has many places that are off limits to cars, but motor vehicles are still extremely useful sometimes, so access is still provided for delivery trucks, emergency vehicles, and people with disabilities. I've been constantly told that we need to design for cars because of families, the disabled, or the elderly. And yet I see all of those people getting around just fine. Because universal access to mobility isn't a fundamental issue. It's a problem caused by car dependency.
Yes.
Would this guy be better off in a car? Maybe. I didn't ask him. But it's not like he's unable to get around independently here, like would be the case where I'm from. Now, Utrecht isn't perfect, and the city still shows the scars of that 1960s car-centric development. But it is a city that is improving rapidly. It seems like every time I go there, there's some new project underway to make the city better. If you'd like to learn more, the channel Bicycle Dutch regularly makes videos about the improvements happening in Utrecht, and I'll leave a link in the description. Now, the immediate question that this comparison raises in the minds of most Canadians and Americans is, what should I do to repair my North American city? And the short answer is, join your local advocacy group or Strongtown's local conversation. Advocacy is local. The best way to repair your city entirely depends on where you live, the factors that affect your neighborhood, and ultimately, how much damage was done by car infrastructure. The correct approach for, say, a German living in Berlin would be completely different than an American living in Phoenix.
Very true.
Which is why you shouldn't be getting your advice from YouTubers, Instagrammers, or TikTokers. You should be talking to your local advocacy groups. What I wouldn't recommend, though, is to blindly try to replicate what the Dutch did in the 1970s. First of all, the Dutch protests were not unique. For example, there's a lot of talk in urbanist circles about the Stop de Kindermoord protests in the Netherlands in the 1970s, when parents were angry that children were being killed by cars. But you hear almost nothing about the baby carriage blockades in the 1940s and 1950s in the United States that were done for exactly the same reason. The internet is full of these images of Amsterdam in the 60s versus Amsterdam today. The ones by Thomas Schleiper in particular are really great. And if your goal is to convince people that it is possible for cities to change for the better, as Brent often does, then this is fine, of course. But it's good to keep in mind that these images can be misleading and possibly even counterproductive when it comes to actually improving North American cities. I hate this image of Zijlstraat in Amsterdam in particular, especially when it's paired up with some nice street in Amsterdam today. Because for one, this was an unusually large traffic jam, likely because this bridge was open during rush hour. But more importantly, because Zijlstraat is almost exactly the same today, and it still sucks. There are certainly more people who cycle here than 40 years ago, and that's important, but the design of the street hasn't improved at all. I talked about this street 3 years ago in my most dangerous places to cycle in Amsterdam video, and it's one of the only streets I talked about that hasn't been improved since then. Like, seriously, Van Vouwstraat was also featured in that same video, but it's been recently blocked off to through traffic and the design is much better. It's genuinely nice to be on this street now. This image is actually accurate though. This really does show a legitimate before and after of Eerste van der Heilstraat in De Pijp in Amsterdam. But this brings me to my next issue with these images, because when people online talk about Amsterdam in the 1970s, they almost exclusively talk about peaceful protest, which completely ignores the fact that a lot of the protests were not peaceful.
Nope.
The reason Amsterdam is as nice as it is today is because people literally fought for it, like got in fist fights in the streets. You have to do that. I've received a lot of criticism.
What a crazy thought! You can't politely ask a fascist or in this case just a dickhead driver to do something nicely. And they'll do it. They don't do that because they're selfish and they don't think about anything besides what their needs and wants are. What a crazy thought. Who thought? Who knew?
From American advocates especially, that the tone of my YouTube videos is inappropriate and that I need to be nicer. Which makes me laugh every time, because I imagine the response from those same people if I said that they should try flipping cars on their side, spray painting car free on them, and using them to block the street. Because protests like that are why Ferdinand Bolstraat in De Pijp is almost completely car free today. Would I advocate for that? I mean, it would be really funny. But I'm not convinced that this approach would work in the North America of today. The truth is that the Dutch approach worked for many reasons. Some of it...
I mean, literally, in my lifetime, Ford and GM and Dodge were all too big to fail or whatever, right? It's never gonna... It's not going to work. There are maybe there's other things. I don't know. America's so... I mean, we're at the end of this, like, prosperous age, and we're in immediate decline. So, like, I don't know. You have to fix... You have to, like, completely fix whatever comes out of this era in order to be able to do this. I mean, maybe doing this is part of fixing it's out of there. It's not chicken or egg thing. It's just, like, you just have to figure it out.
But because of the tireless work of advocates and protesters, but also for economic, social, and political reasons, as well as good timing. Most notably, the oil crisis of the 1970s, where the government was forced to institute mandatory car-free days. If you're actually interested in this, there is this great paper that goes into more detail, link in the description. And I think it's important to understand this context because the North America of today is nothing like the Netherlands of the 1970s. There is a fundamental difference between fighting to keep your traditional neighborhood from being destroyed by car infrastructure versus trying to repair your city when downtown has been bulldozed to build surface parking lots, nobody has been allowed to live there for years due to exclusionary zoning, urban sprawl has been the only legal type of development for decades, public transportation is nearly useless, almost every household owns multiple pickup trucks or SUVs, and there is no one left alive who remembers what the city was like before it was overrun by cars. Which is why I don't make videos about how Amsterdam became bike-friendly. I make videos about strong towns and how car-dependent American-style suburbia is dangerous, unhealthy, financially insolvent, and in general, just a shitty way to live. So if you live in North America and you want your city to improve, then join Strong Towns and find a local safe streets or urbanist advocacy group in your city. Because they certainly exist, and they know a lot more about your neighborhood than some YouTuber. From there, you can do the second most important thing, which is to attend community engagement meetings about the changes happening in your area. This is important because otherwise the only people there will be a bunch of cranky boomers who only showed up because they have literally nothing better to do than to complain about parking. But beyond that, I'm not going to make any more specific recommendations because fundamentally, Not Just Bikes is not an advocacy channel. I was an advocate for many years, but that life is behind me now. Plus, about 2/3 of my audience isn't even from the US or Canada, and they have limited interest in American-centric topics. If that's the kind of content you want, that's great, but you should probably be watching a channel like Strong Towns if you want to learn more about North American advocacy. I'll put a link to their channel in the description. Now, despite the fact that I'm not personally interested in making American advocacy videos, I have heard from literally hundreds of people who were encouraged to become advocates because of my channel, and I love that. And Strong Towns have told me that Not Just Bikes has been a major source of new members for them, which is amazing. I've even had a significant number of people tell me that they've decided to study urban planning because of my videos, which I must admit makes me a little bit nervous because I've never studied urban planning or worked as an urban planner, so I'm not really sure what it's like to actually do that job. But then I remember reading that enrollment into archaeology programs spiked after the first Indiana Jones movie was released, and I suspect that those people were in for much more of a shock than any of my fans will be. True. From the very beginning of this channel, I did not want to be prescriptive. I don't know who you are, I don't know what your situation is, so I don't want to tell you what to do. My main goal with this channel has always been to talk about my personal experiences in cities. I enjoy making videos about great cities, talking about what makes them great and why I believe that they are better places to live. What you do with that information is really up to you. If you watch my videos and decide to become an advocate, that's great. The world needs more people like you. If you decide to move to a more walkable neighborhood nearby, fantastic. If you decide to pack up everything and take off to another country as I did, that's great too. And if you decide to collapse on the couch and cry yourself to sleep, well, personally, I think you should do something more productive with your limited time on this earth. But hey, you do you.
Thank you.
I have to.
Okay, I appreciate that you keep your opinion. You told me your opinion, but you didn't try to push it on me. I will continue to fall asleep on my couch and cry. All right, thank you.
To admit though, whenever I come back to my hometown, I get pretty upset. I think back to the photos of what it used to look like, and I feel like I was robbed, because I was. We all were. Car infrastructure destroyed our cities. When I grew up, I couldn't wait to get out of fake London, to move somewhere better, and I spent so much of my life moving from place to place to find the one that was right for me. And when I finally found it, I wanted to share that knowledge with others, so that they wouldn't have to spend as much time as I did to find their perfect place to live. Which is why the very first scene of the very first video on this channel was...
This is the video I wish I could have seen 20 years ago, as it would have saved me a lot of time figuring out where I wanted to live. Which is here, in the Netherlands.
And yet, that perfect place could have been the place I was born. But they destroyed it, so that suburbanites had somewhere to park.
I guess...
The citizens of Utrecht...
That's where I'm fortunate. Because I live in New York City, and New York City is not... It's like, the walkability is decent, but there's still, like, traffic. There's still, like, big streets with traffic. I mean, New Yorkers are working on it, but it's not perfect. And people bitch against it all the goddamn time, and I bitch about it too, but that's I bitch about it because it's a rich person's playground, and it's not for people like me. Because people like me get pushed to the edges and live in public housing with very thin walls and even very low income.
So that suburban.
But I still love the city. I did spend life like a couple years living in suburbia in the middle of nowhere, and I'd rather have New York than that ever. Every 8 days a week, all right, 19 days a week. It just 17 trillion% over that.
Nights had somewhere to park. The citizens of Utrecht were lucky in that they were able to stop the damage before it could go too far. Because while cities can improve, the sad fact is that, barring some fundamental restructuring of our society, London will never be as good as Utrecht in my lifetime. And there's not much I can do about that. But what I can do is to show people how life can be better in cities designed for people. One genuinely good thing, though, is that there's a lot more quality urbanist content online than when I was learning these things. I often recommend City Beautiful, a professor of urban planning with a talent for teaching. City Nerd, a planner and engineer who masterfully delivers deadpan humor in highly researched videos. And RM Transit, a transportation consultant who knows more about public transit than anybody I've ever met. But there are many others that you'll discover as soon as the almighty algorithm finds out you like trains. If you're a Nebula subscriber, there's a whole section dedicated to urbanism that includes urbanist creators, but also individual videos by other creators about urbanist topics. And if you can, I'd really encourage you to watch these videos on Nebula because it directly supports the creators. This isn't an advertisement or a paid sponsorship, this is just fact. I would not be able to afford to make the videos that I do if it wasn't for the support that I get from Nebula. I have a Patreon page as well, and if you prefer Patreon, that's great, but I generally try to promote Nebula because I just think it's a better deal for my viewers. Because when you sign up to Nebula, you support this channel, but you also get access to the videos of over 200 other talented creators, all without any ads or sponsorships. And there's a growing library of Nebula Originals videos that are only available on Nebula. I recently teamed up with some very talented comedians to make a new comedy urbanism channel called I Love the City. It's a lot funnier than Not Just Bikes because other people write the jokes. I Love the City is produced with the help of Nebula, and every episode is published to Nebula first, before it's available anywhere else. And that brings me to my very favorite thing about Nebula. It's a creator-owned streaming service. It's not owned by venture capital firms.
And the thing is, if I do Nebula Reacts, I feel like I'm stealing content, and I don't want to upset those creators. I feel that's a little disrespectful because they create, why am I leaking the content of a paid subscription especially if it's, you know, not like, you know, Netflix.